Are you truly living life or just avoiding death? Well, we're here to answer that question.
Let go. Asteroid of fear.
And welcome to Unfiltered Friday here at the Men of the House podcast. And if you have kids in the car, you might want to pause for the cause and revisit this whenever they're not around. This is going to be a deep one. So, welcome back. It's Friday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time it is. But yes, thank you for spending your time with me. Our most valuable asset. But this is going to be a deep one. And if you listened to last Unfiltered Friday and thought it was a little wonky, it's going to all start making sense as I've had time to reflect on it. And I think I can um, elaborate and articulate a little better what's going on. And depending on if you follow me, how in depth you follow me, and what you know, and how many episodes you listen to, you will know I've been trying to figure this out for a while. My whole life, I guess. So, yeah, for starters, it's been like I feel different than everyone else. Why am I different than everyone else? Um, and there's many reasons, there's lots of different things that kind of make it up. Oh, little pause for look at this for the listeners or for the viewers and listeners. Haircut, no more men bun. It's gone. Got it high and tight, looking professional over here. Not quite military. It's regulation though. Not the beard. But yeah, let's jump back into the story of why did I always feel different? What is wrong with me? Because a lot of you might be thinking that. Hi, as you may know, I started therapy not long ago, and oh, whether or not it's been helpful is remain to be seen. However, I have been searching, at therapy. I've been to the doctor. I used to take medication. I got off medication and stripped down to baseline, and I kept having these dips like every 3 weeks and maybe every 6 to 8 months. I feel like I would have a meltdown, and you're trying to identify it. You're trying to, if you can put a name or a label on it, maybe it can be explained or maybe it can be fixed. And so identifying what's been going on has been the most challenging part, because I got off the meds and stripped down to baseline, and through monitoring I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe I do have a chemical imbalance. Maybe it's a chemical problem. And um my wife went away for a week on a cruise for her birthday with her mother. And this allowed me some time and space to go deep in the feels without her being present. So I'm not a total ass or a dick in my behavior to her. So, yeah, I got a lot of feeling done. Not a lot of sleep, but a lot of feeling. And I think I had mentioned last time I'd been watching these videos on, some of it's like CIA interrogation training. But the point is the reason behind those videos are they deal with the mind. Because here I am thinking, hey, I have a mind problem. Why can't I figure this out? Why do I feel the way I do? And I don't know. Well, through a podcast, A Changed Mind, it started to click and make sense that what I'm feeling is in my body, or my mind is triggering my body, creating anxiety. Then I get ramped up, and then it just loops, and I cannot get out of the loop, the poor mental thought loop, doom loop. Um, People call it different things, but and then I would get angry when I couldn't get out. And then I would get depressed because I'm like, I don't know what this is. Um, I can't get out of it, and it would cause a lot of frustration. And um, that frustration, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, too high of a vibration in your body was, and not being able to identify it was literally making me feel like I was crazy. But once I figured out it was in my body, and my body was the thing I needed to control, it kind of came as a relief. And how thoughts kind of become things. But these negative thought patterns would just keep me in this loop. And I explained that my wife was gone, and I have a particular thought pattern that runs rampant. And um, I was able to bring it up and then let it subside or feel it. And in that process, I was able to kind of identify that, oh, this thought or the thought about this problem, this set of problems causes this feeling. This feeling continues and keeps looping and gets out of control. And so, yeah, like an anxiety, if you will. I have anxiety just talking about it. It's a little, part of it's like, does it sound crazy? And then part of it's like, no, it makes sense. And it's about to make more sense. And this is the hard and deep part. So, through those videos, I kind of garnered this information that, and this is how I discovered it, was, in looking at person's world views, how they view the world, it's shaped by certain things, because I was interested in the military, potentially CIA, FBI, government office type things when I was young. And so it should be no secret that I'm enjoying some CIA content. Um, but, with the CIA, what their job is to spy. So to get people to give them information um, through motivation or manipulation, depending on who's to benefit. Um, and therefore, their view is brains are the same regardless of the language or what's between your legs. And therefore, concepts and frameworks can be applied the same. So that's kind of where I found maybe some of this framework and a couple of ways. Um, so that's kind of part one. Part two was I have an interview. I don't know if it's released yet. Um, they've all kind of jumbled together in this discovery process, but I did an interview with someone, and he had talked about, you know, what's a food that no matter how it was prepared, you would never eat it. Because it was like this proposition of something. I don't know what we were talking about. And I said eggs. I hate eggs. And he starts telling me that, hey, he's inviting me and there's going to be this egg dish. And as he said that, my shoulders kind of sank. I sank down into my chair for you viewers. And that was the first time I noticed, oh, my body language is showing outwardly what I feel internally. And then fast forward like a day, maybe. My wife and I are talking. I have trouble sleeping. Um, and so I try to start winding down like 8 p.m. and kind of have a, I don't know if it's a rule or I told her not long ago, hey, like we're not going to discuss serious things, school, work, vacations, money, bills, whatever, before bedtime, because it creates anxiety in me as I'm winding down. And she mentioned something to me that was on the anxiety level. You can hear it in my voice. And I just, like when she said it, unknowingly, unintentionally, I just like grabbed the pillow and rolled over, turned my back, and thought about it for a second. I got back that replay of my shoulder sinking about the egg comment. And I was like, oh shit. Like, holy fuck, man. My body just responded to something negative, a concept of talking something serious late at night. My body just responded to that unknowingly. So reactive. And yeah, that was like a little aha moment of you're reacting. You're in a reactive state, and your external body language is speaking for you, speaking what you're feeling inside. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. And we're going to start putting this shit together. Well, let's backtrack. So you get a lot of your views in your world view 0 to 7, 8 to 13, and 14 to 25. All significant points in my life, um, time periods, I guess. But this kind of filled me in to something that happened when I was 7. And this something that happened hmm, for a while. I thought it was just something that happened. It didn't happen to me. Um, but it did. And it was buried pretty deep inside. We're going to talk about that. And this is going to be the hard part. Um, yeah. Uh, let's do this. So, a lot of people you might know, I don't know. I've said it, but I was struggled to be born 3 times, and then I got burned at one and spent time in the burn unit in a little box. My parents had to drive from Houston to Galveston every day just to touch me through a box. And I'm certain not everybody there made it. And, probably why crying babies disturb me and ocean sounds soothe me. I'm guessing there was something there. But, that for me, that was a touch point with mortality and death. And I think I was one. So even if you can't comprehend it, I'm certain there's an energy around it that gets absorbed into the body. All right. Let's fast forward to 7. So 7 years old, second grade, um, riding home on the bus. We stop, and she might have been sitting next to me. She got off the bus, and she's crossing a 4-lane highway. I believe her mom worked at the gas station or something. I think she lived in my neighborhood or across the street or something. Her mom was at a different place, so she was getting off at a different stop and had to cross the highway. And I guess the parking brake failed on the school bus and it ran over her while we were on the bus. And then, of course, everything slows down. We're stuck on the bus while it's, I guess, being investigated, etc., cleaned up. And yeah, time stopped a little bit, which is why I'm like, she might have been sitting next to me. I don't know. But I don't remember anything else. I don't remember anything outside of the little bubble in my head I was stuck in. And then I remember the next day being in class and she sat in front of me, but she wasn't there. And I don't know what all the adults said. I don't know how they explained it. Um, I don't know. I just remember very isolated, being in a bubble. I don't remember much. I don't remember much about that year. Um, but I remember her. And I think that trauma was stuck inside of me. Now, I wasn't the only one on the bus. So this had an impact on a lot of people. And I don't know if they're able to trace this back of how it impacted them. But the one person I'm certain of was the bus driver. And I feel for him. That has had to be a lot to carry his entire life. I don't care how much faith you have, it doesn't leave. And so I was able to kind of come up with that 7-year old boy is this where the damage is. What was I shown that day? The world is scary. The world is dangerous. The world's trying to kill you. Um, did I gain a fear of death that day? Uh, hmm, which, I don't know. I've had some reckless years and I've had some thoughts about it. And I had this thought of like, did I intentionally put myself in harm's way as a way of facing death, the fear of death? Like, meaning, hey, if I put myself in harm's way and, death can't come from me if I come for death. Why did I join the military? Why did I engage in high risk behavior and not care and be wild and reckless? Some people call it a death wish, and maybe at times I did have one. And so, yeah, um, so I've kind of been able to trace back, like, you look at that, and then I have just had touch points with death my entire life. Um, a lot of it. So if you touch death, it will touch you back. Um, And so you have that experience at 7. You see death a lot, especially until you're 25. Because my first stint in the ER was before I was 25. And then, of course, I spent 2009 to 2015 in a level 1 trauma center. The rest of the years managing stuff, but still had people expire on my site. My grandparents passed away, Buck, in January. And so I am intimately familiar with death. Um, and therefore, it's kind of like I had to ask my question of, yeah, maybe fear, scared of death. Am I merely avoiding dying out of fear because I see it all around me? Or am I living life? And, through all this and sitting through the shit and the feelings, I, I got laid off in 2020, and then, my wife and I weren't doing great in 2022. And, I had to make some decisions to quit alcohol, lose weight, all kinds of shit. But, you know, we were just at a point where it wasn't great, and I didn't want to lose my daughter first and foremost. Didn't want to lose my wife, but and so yeah, I fucking started a podcast and lost 65 pounds and blah 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 blah, trying to prove my worth, trying to prove my value. Fear, fear of losing, fear of death, fear, underlying level of fear. To where you're looking for everything that can fucking possibly, like, yeah. I mean, when I walk out in the country and I take a piss on the side of the road, you better believe my eyes are scanning for copperheads in the leaves. Would you call it smart? Yes, it's actually smart. However, have all my smart behaviors been to avoid death, um, as opposed to like using them to solve life? Yeah, because my anticipation of things is what made me good at my job in the ER, what made me good at dealing with things, reacting to things, solving problems like a master reactionary. I mean, that's what you do as a manager. You fucking solve problems. Um, and it was like I could always solve everybody else's, but not my own. And, it's because I thought it was a mind thing, but it's a body thing. That fear and that reactive state, I can feel it inside of me now. Just talking about it. I know it's not the place of peace and love and um, creation where that comes from. It's like, have I been playing to not lose versus playing to win? I always thought I was playing to win, but now I'm not so sure because have I been living out of fear and just avoiding death? Has that driven all my decisions? Discovering this, the best way to explain it is like, imagine I'm an iPhone and um, I had no idea the little 7-year-old boy, that app was open in the background, running, using up memory, using up battery, using up storage space. Maybe the thing preventing your system from updating, you go to update your iOS system and it's like, oh, you must Delete this much space. You must do this. You must do that before it can update. Yeah, I've had this fucking app running for 42 years in the background. No idea that it's running. No idea that it's potentially driving every emotion, decision, then action. Every emotion I feel, every decision I make, every action I take. It's like fucking being hijacked by a puppeteer. Because then you go, why did I do this? Why did I do that? Typically we do shit to avoid pain, death, whatever. We don't want to be in pain. Well, newsflash, you have to sit through the pain to solve it. I didn't realize until I was sitting in it what state it was causing my body and what that was doing to my brain. Because your body's releasing chemicals or your brain's releasing chemicals, one or the other, vice versa. You're getting a feeling, an emotion, and it feels like shit. But you gotta do it. You gotta fucking breathe. You gotta process it out. Um, yeah. I mean, I look, you know, two sides of my family, all addicts and outlaws of all kinds, from jails, 1% motorcycle club, heroin, alcohol, weed, all of it. So think about this. You got two sides of your family, several generations of people with trauma, all living in a state of anxiety or fear of not having enough. Who the fuck's going to be in jail now? What's going to happen? Because everybody's in always fucking trouble. So they're living in anxious states. They're all trying to calm their nerves, slow down that vibration through use of drugs and alcohol. Um, their fear is projecting outwards towards me. And what did I do as a kid? How did I deal with chaos? I isolated. Where was I safe? Where did I feel the safest with me at 7 years old? By myself. I was an only child. I didn't trust adults because I didn't think adults had good answers or they didn't tell the truth. So I didn't believe adults, which is why I have problems with authority. And um, yeah, I didn't believe adults, and I found safety being alone and isolated, which is why I realize I isolate a lot, um, just like naturally, uninstinctively. So, like right now, I'm in this process of overriding instinct. I'm overriding my body's reactions, the reactions it wants to take because it's used to it, because of what the body feels. And so you have two sides of families. They're projecting this outward. They're, um, so I'm picking that up. Yeah, they're living in an anxious state. Um, I have found family members OD'd, maybe 8 or 9 years old. You don't think that fucks somebody up? Um, so I look at all this and, they're like, well, what'd you do to feel safe? Um, Isolate. What did I do to make friends? I don't know. Um, I just tried to be myself. And what did I do to get rewards during that time? Because typically as adults, we model that back. And for me, it was achievement, you know? Well, one, I was already premature and being burned and all that bullshit. My parents are like, you're never going to be like everybody else. You're never going to be normal like everybody else. You're going to be smaller. You got asthma. You can't play football. You can't do this. You're never going to be like everyone else. You're going to have to fight just to be normal, just to be baseline, like everybody else. Um, so you take that and then getting rewarded for doing well, and oh, let's marry it with a little fucking trauma, and you wonder why you get a fucked up overachiever, people pleaser. Yeah. So here I am all these years thinking it's in my mind. But then, as I'm going through all this, dots start connecting. Well, guess who liked weed and alcohol to calm their nerves? You got it. This guy who had thumbs and loved some JMO and marijuana. This guy. But I was finally able to connect. You're fucking trying to soothe yourself, your nervous system, because it's out of fucking control. Everything, everyone around you has been out of your control your whole life. Why did I thrive in the military? Why did I thrive in restaurants? Why did I thrive in the emergency room? Chaos. I could manage the chaos. I could be still in the chaos. I could keep my wits in the chaos. I was good in chaos. Very proficient. Ask anyone. I can manage fucking stress like no other until I couldn't. You know, Andy Stump from Cleared Hot always says everybody's cup is capable of a certain amount until it overflows. Some people just have fucking bigger cups, you know? And we don't determine when and how it overflows. Um, but maybe I reached a breaking point, you know? It's like that shit was my superpower until it was not. And then, you know, I look back 3 years ago and I'm like, I don't want to lose my daughter. Fear, fear. I remember also when I was 9, um, I remember one of my friends we were riding bikes, he got stung by a red wasp and he started having an allergic reaction to it and was having troubles breathing. And as an asthmatic, not breathing is like the biggest fucking thing. And so, um, I was always so fucking scared of bees and wasps, but did not want to get stung because I was always like, oh man, if that happens to me and I can't breathe, I'm gonna fucking die. Think about that. Fear. Meanwhile, I think it was like 2 years ago, I got stung for the first time at my mother in law's house. I was walking in from the patio from journaling and coffee in the morning, and I went to open the door, and they have a plant next to the door, and a wasp flew off the plant and stung me on my finger. Fucking burned. But and I won't know if I'm allergic till I get stung a second time. Maybe I should get an EpiPen. Um, because you know your first sting, your body doesn't pick it up as foreign, but now that it's had the toxin, if I get stung a second time, my body will either say, "Oh, I recognize that," or "I don't recognize it," and try to fucking kill me. So, uh, yeah, you see the theme here. It's kind of multi-themed, but it's really about my life. And if you've listened to every episode, congratulations to you. You have seen a real time, real life fucking growth journey of me trying to figure this out. What it's about, why. Um, because now that I feel like I have this, I feel like I've spent my whole life going, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you this way? Why do you feel this way? You're not like everybody else. Of course, I've been told that. But um, for me, there it's fucking depressing to know or feel like something's wrong with you, but you can't identify it. I mean, it led me to feeling suicidal. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I do not want to lie. Um, I feel like I have to tell you guys, the listeners, the world, the truth, so I'm not fucking lying to myself. But yeah, I was suicidal. And I thought it was depressed. I thought I thought it was all these things until I realized, oh, be super fucking aware of how you're feeling at any given moment throughout the day. Because you're either in fight or flight or rest and digest. You're in one or the other. Or I like to call it love. You're either fight or flight, anxious, reactionary, fear, or you're in love, creation, positive. You feel good. Like for me, giving my wife a hug, it's soothing. She's comforting. Um, that's what it feels like. So it's like becoming super aware of how you're feeling at any given moment. And then if you feel like you're in fear or reaction, why? Why? Is it something you're thinking? Is it a bad thought loop? Typically, sometimes that's how it starts. Um, and some things affect you more than others. It depends on if you define and assign meanings to it. It's like now I can talk about my layoff and it doesn't even fucking bother me. It's like, whatever. It was a blessing in disguise. Um, I don't miss the circus, but I miss the clowns, and I still get to see the clowns, so it's all good. But yeah, there are other things in my life that aren't resolved fully and are still going to take time. My wife and I having issues 3 years ago. It's still a work in progress, but we've been together 19 years. It's always a work in progress by the day, by the minute. And I'm super proud of us for trying and working and her putting up with me through all this. I know it has not been easy, and I have put her through hell. I wish I hadn't, but she stuck with me while I tried to figure this out. That says a lot about her and who she is as a person and her love for me, which I'm grateful for. But, it's like, how did I know? Like this reactionary, I was in this state. Well, um, one way I'm going to tell you is sometimes when my wife would call, I would get like, and then I'd be like, why don't I want to talk to my wife? Why am I having that reaction to my wife calling me? I'm supposed to be your best friend, your lover. Talking to her is supposed to soothe you. When you first start dating somebody, you can't fucking wait to talk to them. You stay up on the phone all night with them, texting all nights of the hours, fucking losing sleep, going to work tired, school tired, whatever it is you're doing because, man, you were really into that person and that person made you feel good. Well, I wasn't getting that. I was like, I didn't want to talk to her, kind of. And I knew it was wrong. And I had to go, why do I feel this way? I know it's not right. Why do I feel this way? And it was just her and I had some unresolved shit. And it was coming through in my actions and my body because the call was only one part of it. Remember when I told you I rolled over when she mentioned something to me? That was my body reacting. And then I start to look back and you're like, oh, uh, yeah. So for at least the past 3 years, that fear of losing my daughter drove me to this place. And I was like, fuck. And you start to look back and you're like, when were all the times you were in this fight or flight? And what decisions did you make? Or that baseline of fear of seeing people die, seeing people with their throats closed, everything. You name it, I have seen it. I've held people's legs, their ears, their arms, detached from them, iced them, sent them to pathology. Um, Not much bothers me. Or it didn't. Or, a lot there you have to, um, if it bothers you, you can't let it impact the work and you have to continue doing the work. So you stuff it down or push it aside. I say they're like these books behind me on the shelf that all the traumas I saw, I just fucking threw them on the bookshelf. And then when I got laid off, it's like, oh fuck, you got a whole library to read and address. And yeah. Oh. And it begs this question of, you know, when you're in the ER, well, you're waiting. When I was a manager, you're just waiting for the next fucking bad thing to happen, whether it's somebody calling in. So you're living your life in this reactionary mode all the time. And even when you're down, relaxing before shit pops off, you might be relaxed, but you're able to fucking switch states real quick. Because that's how the ER goes. I mean, you might be fucking sitting around picking your ass and they call and now you got 12 patients because they just got fucking run over 2 blocks away. Which, yeah, I was a part of that in Austin. Part of a few things that made CNN that year, or a couple of years in a row. But my whole life has been reaction solving problem. And then it's crazy because you get so good at that. And then you come home and your personal life's kind of a fucking wreck sometimes. It's been good at times and times it not. And, I've heard Andy on Cleared Hot analogize it to you have SEAL team operators, they're fucking rock star in combat on the team doing their job. And then their personal life, whether it be finances, relationships, is all a shit show. And we as a culture, for whatever fucking reason, we value this like it's okay. It's okay to be hot shit at your profession and dog shit at your personal life. It's actually preferred. We reward and merit people based on that. The position in your company, the salary you make, your title. When we're looking to hire people, we look at their resumes. Well, that's just their fucking public facing life shit that they've done. But their personal life, their life at home, is the shit they all bring to work with them that goes on display. Their beliefs, their problems. They don't know they're doing it, but it comes across. Just like um, when I said my shoulders, when I rolled over, people are doing this shit all the time and they don't know. I've been watching some people on body language, this and that, the other, and kind of the body language is the symptoms, meaning the cause is a couple of layers deep, probably in your personal life, something that's happening, something you feel a certain way about, and you have no idea that you're fucking giving off these clues. He said, imagine like, it's like everybody has their little 7-year old out. And if you start to see the world like that, like everybody's fucking broken. And Their little tantrums they throw, be it in the form of words, a little argument, a quip, or whatever at you, is that broken little 7 year old fucking coming out, you know, or their behavior and protection of that 7 year old is what's coming out towards you. And it's like, I don't know if I heard it on a podcast somewhere, but I was telling my wife, it's like, yeah, like, look at my resume, but I've been with my wife for 19 years. I'm like, if I interviewed somewhere, it's like, you could look at my resume and go, he's done this many years here, whatever, 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 whatever. Proficient, competent, whatever. But if you look and go, he's been with the same woman for 19 years, worked through all these problems, all these situations, all this. Because I'm almost overly loyal to where companies and organizations take advantage of me, which won't happen anymore because I'm aware of what's driving now. I don't fear. I don't have that fear of losing, and I don't need to do shit to get rewards because I am enough by myself. I'm valued as a child of God, and yeah, I don't need a company or anything to tell me my value or worth anymore. But even the last 3 years was like, I was like, to show my wife and my daughter my value through losing weight and podcasting. And I had to turn around and go, fuck, was that really for me? You know? Well, I do get some enjoyment. So, yes. And as long as I enjoy it, I'll do it. Um, but I felt like it had to be this thing of proof to offer me value. And you start connecting the dots, you start seeing back, and you're like, oh, man, that hurt little 7 year old boy, he might have been fucking running the show my entire life for the past 42 years. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, that kind of trauma stunts your growth. And it's like, fuck, did I stop emotionally growing at 7? I'm sure if you ask my wife and some people around me if with my behaviors, they would probably say, yes, motherfucker, you did stop maturing at 7. You're about as mature as a 7 year old. But if that were true, then I'd be somewhat of a competent, proficient, adultish 7 year old. But it also means I got a lot of room for maturity, which is positive. I mean, I can grow into a way better person if that's allowed. Maybe I should be thankful that my emotional maturity was stunted at 7 because, you know, as at 49, approaching 50, I could truly say I'm young at heart because my growth was stunted by trauma. Yeah. Another way I knew it wasn't normal was when I told somebody about me being on the bus that ran over the girl. I could see the reflection of somebody's face, and um, that showed me that it wasn't normal. It wasn't as normal as I made it out to be, and it did have an impact. But I don't know if maybe that was the one last little inner shadow person I needed to address to be free and move forward in life. But I feel like it's a game changer. I feel like it changes everything. Um, I don't, other than expecting the best and being happy and, um, yeah, life's going to look and be a little bit different. So if you guys notice a change, this is why. it's going to change my solo episodes. It's going to change how I interview people. Should I continue to podcast? I don't know yet. I haven't really decided. Hmm. Because, my daughter told me to start the podcast. Um, I was trying to please her. So in a roundabout way, I need to make sure that I'm podcasting because I enjoy it. I want to do it. Um, and that, I feel like you guys as the listeners get some value from it because yeah, well, I'm not out to people please or anything like that. I'm still a person of service. I still have a deep seated love for people and I still want to add value to them and help them figure out, or if I can, for so long I felt like incapable of helping others because I hadn't figured myself out. And I feel like this offers that window that I finally have figured out something about myself that I needed to, that feels more complete now. And now I feel like I could potentially help others um, with some of their issues. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Quite the journey. So, I don't know if all that made sense or it sounds like a bunch of craziness. I have a bunch of notes here. I could not stop writing kind of when I came upon this, and it's been days of processing, feeling, understanding, realizing. Um, for a lot of people, some of this stuff is going to sound hippie woo woo, like manifestation type shit, because it's kind of in that realm. But it makes sense to me in terms of your internal vibrational state. For me, anxiety is like vibration high, like twisting up a guitar string till it's about to fucking pop. And that's why, yeah, booze and drugs and alcohol and sex and whatever else to try to ease that feeling up. Um, Not understanding that your brain and the shit you're putting attention on is what's causing that vibration, that state. And you can't be in two states at once. So you're in fight or flight or you're in rest and digest. So one thing's driving the decisions or the other thing is anger and fear or love and creation. For me, it's kind of been boiled down as that simple. How do I feel and why? What am I thinking about and why? Does it matter and why? Can I do anything about it and why? And then you can start going, oh, I can't do shit about that at the moment. Like my wife was on a cruise. If I couldn't talk to her about what I was feeling, then what's the fucking point of worrying about it? So I journaled like, hey, I feel this. Logically, I cannot do anything about it. So let's think about something else that either needs to get accomplished or something I want or something positive, and let's tackle that. And then when problems arise, um, we recognize how they make us feel. And then you pause without reacting and make sure when you react or whatever, it's from a positive space. Yeah. That way, a negative emotional state, low vibration state is not puppeteering, hijacking, driving, and trying to ruin your fucking life. Because it will. Yeah, I thought I was like, maybe I'm depressed. Mm, maybe I'm fucking crazy. Mm, no, it wasn't that at all. It's your body is in a state of fight or flight, and you're reacting to everything because you had some unresolved shit. And I'm going to tell you something. This past week of drumming all this up, sitting through the shit, I am fucking. My body feels destroyed. The body keeps the score. That book, that shit holds up in your body. It makes you sick, will give you illness. I feel like I did a marathon. So, I mean, if you know depressed people who have trouble getting out of bed, that's why. Emotions take up a lot of physical energy. Thinking. Thinking causes emotions. Emotions require energy. The body and brain like to be efficient. That's why it's fucking hard to do new shit because you have to override the habit of easing into the thing that's easier, that has no resistance. You know, if you're used to eating fucking Doritos instead of reaching for a healthy option, well, guess what? Your brain already knows it's familiar. It's going to reach for the familiar thing. It takes some effort, and your brain kicks back. No, I'd really fucking like Doritos because they taste way better, et cetera, et cetera. And they're shitty for you. And, you know, you have one every once in a while. I say sometimes you nourish the body, sometimes you nourish the soul. But either way, that's no matter what. That's why it's hard to get into an exercise routine because you're not used to it and your body will default to the easiest thing that does not require effort. And in a world where we're always tired and everything's competing for your attention and everybody's operating in a state of reaction and they don't even know it. And so, of course, they're fucking tired. And that makes change even more difficult. So, yeah, that's what I've come up with. Um, and that's going to be what I'm working on to keep in check. And of course, as the journey continues, I will continue to keep you guys updated on Unfiltered Fridays if I continue to podcast. And interviews will be the same and hope they'll be enjoyable. And, um, but yeah, everything will be approached differently. It's like I have to pause and go, okay, let's put the correct driver in the driver's seat. Not the little 7-year-old boy who's scared and hurt and has no idea what's going on. And, you know, let's make sure that that person's driving the decisions and, you know, not the 7-year-old little boy. There's another funny thing on that and belief systems as it relates to money. Your belief about money, well, my dad used to always say money was evil and that the people who had it were crooked, probably meaning politicians and shit. And so I grew up with that. But then also my dad, in the 80s and 90s, he was a slave to the beeper and always getting paged. And, I was able to have nice things and whatever I wanted. But half the time I really just wanted him there. And I hated the fact that he was getting paged all the time. And so, my belief about money is it's evil. Um, the people who have it are crooked, in that um, the person I wanted was being called away all the time to make it. So you can see how it would have a negative context to me. But that's switched. Money is a tool, it's a resource. It can be used for good or bad. It all depends on the person. People are evil. Yeah. especially in a capitalist nation. So everything becomes about that. Every everybody's value is based on, a status, a bank account number, followers, this, that, fake bullshit, shit that doesn't matter, shit that they're not taking with them when they die. So it's like they're fucking dummies. But, you know, I was subject to being a dummy once. I'm not impervious to the influence of evil, the outside world, the capitalist nation, and, you know, the fact that the world wants good little minions to go out and perpetuate capitalism for people with bad intentions. So I know that was a mouthful, and some of you may get it and some of you may not. Um, if you don't get it, then you're this is probably not the place for you, because I'm gonna spit some truths that you're not gonna like. So, mm. But anyhow, that's what I figured out. So ask yourself, are you avoiding death, or are you living life? Remember to like, subscribe, share the episode if you enjoyed it. Let's get the message out. If it resonates with you, have a private accountability group, Facebook and WhatsApp if you're interested. Um, I'm guessing, yeah, things are going to shift a little bit. I think I have a little more intention. Um, or, well, everybody's just going to be getting a more true version of me. Even me. I feel like I met the real me. Not best friends with him yet, but, you know, I'm warming up to him. Or maybe I feel like I've been the 7-year-old me and I'm meeting 49-year-old me. I don't know. Somewhere they're converging, hashing it out. But yeah, I'm trying to warm up to myself. And then I can figure out how to move forward and operate with a new understanding. And yeah, for that, I'm grateful. Yeah, reach out. I hope to hear from you, especially if this resonated with you. And until next time, remember to go out and be the person that you would want to meet. Peace.
Let go. Asteroid of fear.